Y'all, we're making fudge. Come on. Welcome to Highfalutin Low Carb, the almost weekly web series where we find and test the best low carb recipes this crazy internet has to offer. Today, we're tackling low carb fudge. Stay tuned. All right, guys, low carb fudge. We're taking a little bit of a break from revisiting some of my older videos like we started at the beginning of the year to interject with a quick short video about something, honestly, I've just been having a hankering for. Fudge. So we're gonna do 3 different recipes for low carb or keto fudge. The first is apparently as easy as it gets. I'll be the judge of that. And this is 2 ingredient keto fudge. This is by the website thebigmansworld.com. Our second recipe is also fairly easy, adds a few more ingredients, but it still uses the microwave. And this is the best keto fudge recipe, and this is by the website thedietchefs.com. And lastly, our third recipe sort of mimics some of the traditional fudge recipes like you see around the holidays, what everybody's mixing a can of evaporated milk and some chocolate chips and making fudge that doesn't melt in your hand and doesn't have to be stored in the fridge, but we don't have the luxury of sugar-free or low-carb evaporated milk, but we can make our own. And so this recipe is going to take a little bit more work, but we're going to see if it's worth it. And this is the best keto chocolate fudge, and this is by Hey Keto Mama.com. So let's check those out now. But before we begin, I need to give a huge thank you to the sponsor of this video, Green Chef. Green Chef is a CCOF certified organic company with meal plans to fit a variety of lifestyles. You can choose keto like us, or paleo, vegan, vegetarian, fast and fit, Mediterranean, and gluten-free. Now, the recipes are usually quick and easy, and there's a step-by-step instruction guide. You get a card with chef tips and photos to sort of guide you along the way. And what's nice is you really learn how to combine flavors and textures that you probably wouldn't have gotten otherwise, that you can then take and use in other dishes that aren't from Green Chef. Now, this is one of our favorite meals this week. This is the provolone stuffed beef patties. These are ground beef patties that have the delicious provolone cheese kind of packed into the middle so that when you cut into them, it just oozes out. It comes with a slaw of cabbage and carrots. It has a delicious tangy vinegar dressing that's got cilantro in it. And then it also comes with a saute of bell peppers and cremini mushrooms and yellow onion. What's nice is that these are all packaged and portioned out and ready to go. And often the sauces and seasonings are prepared for you already so that you can skip a step there and just get a meal on the table pretty quickly. Guys, they have a fantastic deal, one of their best ones now. If you will use my code Highfalutin60, you will get 60% off plus free shipping. Just go to greenchef.com. So Green Chef, thank you for sponsoring this video. I say it all the time, guys. Sponsorships aren't why I do this, they're how I do this. And Green Chef sponsorships like yours keep channels like mine on the air, and for that I am truly appreciative that we have been such long-term partners. Thanks so much. Guys, go check it out. All right, let's go make some fudge. Come on. All right, guys, our first recipe. This couldn't be any easier, and it is 2 ingredient keto fudge, and this is by the website thebigmansworld.com. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. I don't give exact measurements in these videos because I'm not the creator of these recipes. The people that did do the hard work, they deserve the traffic. So I'm going to ask you to go to the links that are printed down here on the screen. They're going to be in the video description, the show notes down below, and in the pinned comments. So be sure to check out those. You can find all the ingredients and full amounts there at those websites. All right, this is pretty easy, guys. This is natural peanut butter. This is, try to find an unsweetened natural peanut butter. And we're gonna add in a, something that is a nice little trick that is easier to find these days than it has been in the past, and this is sugar-free or no sugar added chocolate chips. I'm using the Lily's brand. That seems to be what a lot of people use these days. It's easy to find. It is a little pricey, but they're wonderfully sweetened with erythritol and stevia. So in these go. This is, I mean, you can't get any easier than that. And look, I done made a mess. Let me get this off of here. So this is gonna go in the microwave for, I'm gonna do it 30 seconds at a time or so, and then use a whisk and then just mix this until it's melted. It's that easy. So I'm gonna see you back here between stirs. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, it's been about a minute. The chips aren't melty yet, but the peanut butter is getting there. And I'll switch to a whisk when it gets a little more manageable. Until then, I'm just trying to avoid a mess on my countertop. Thank you very much. Back in the microwave for a few seconds. Okay, things are heating up here now, as you can see, and wow, that looks, oh, I wish you could see the glistening. I hope the camera catches how. So once you're, I mean, y'all, that was easy. That took about 3 minutes total. I did it in 1 minute increments. So I'm just gonna make sure that we can get all of this out of here. Now, you can do it in an 8x8 or in a loaf pan. I'm gonna do a loaf pan. You just line it with some parchment paper so you can get this guy out of there, make a little sling so you can lift it out, which I have done and already prepared. I did splash a little tiny bit of water on the bottom just to get the paper to hold. And in this goes. It looks so pretty. I felt like an 8x8 wasn't going to be thick enough. I like a thick piece of fudge. And especially for the thumbnail photo, this is going to look good. So most people are doing it, these smaller batches like this that Keto Fudge tends to come in, are doing it in loaf pans like this. This is a 9x5, I think. Okay. So just spread this out. You don't want to let it get behind the paper if you can. I'm gonna resist licking my fingers because you know I want to. Give it a tamp, make sure there's no air bubbles. And then this is going in the fridge for about 2 hours to chill. You can do it in the freezer too, but I've got to chill all these, so I might as well. I'm gonna put a toothpick in it so I know which one is number 1. And this is going in the fridge, and I'll meet you back here in a few minutes and we'll start from there. All right, for recipe number 2. See you in a bit. All right, guys, we're ready for our second recipe. This is the Best Keto Fudge recipe by thedietchefs.com. And this is another one that is done in the microwave, and it has to sort of live in the refrigerator. It can't, I don't believe, live on the countertop. But this doesn't have peanut butter in it to sort of change the flavor of the fudge. This is going to use butter and cocoa powder and some other things. Again, if you want to know exactly how much of all these ingredients, go to the website down here on the screen and in the video description below. This is salted butter, specifically calls for salted butter. And again, some of the Lily's no sugar added chocolate chips that are sweetened with erythritol. So this is gonna go in just like the other one in 30-second increments until this becomes smooth, and I'll meet you back here between stirs. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, this is the first 30 seconds. The chips aren't melted, but the butter is starting to. Just gonna give it a nice mixy mix. You want to kind of give it in 30-second increments because you don't want this to burn. You can if it sits in one spot in the microwave, it can burn. So back in the microwave, see you in a bit. Okay, this is another 30 seconds. We're getting a lot of melted butter here. I actually think that may do it. I'll give this another 20 seconds or so. Okay, you don't want to cook this. If you keep going, it's going to get hard. That's what you don't want. So now that you've got this nice and smooth, we're going to add in, and she says to sift it. Sift, y'all. Use your sifter. And on top of this, we're going to do some confectioner's swerve. That's what I've used here, which is powdered erythritol, and some cocoa powder. And you don't want this, obviously, to have lumps in it, so the sieve helps you get all of that stuff. See all that? That would have just gone lumpity right in. So, get this mixed together. And then, as we did with the other one, I'm going to put this in the same size pan just so everything is sort of even here. Now this calls for some optional sea salt, and I may put some on half of it just because the optional thing, I like just creamy, regular fudge, right? But the toppings like nuts and sea salt do look great in the thumbnail photos. They're eye-catching, so I'll probably do that. But All right, this is a little bit less of a recipe than the last one. We're still going in a 9x5 loaf pan. Hopefully you can see this. This is a lot darker. I guess the cocoa powder is adding a lot of chocolate to what is already pretty chocolatey. Yeah, they couldn't go into anything much larger, and in fact, you probably could get away with a little smaller container. You just want to spread this out and get it fairly even. Get as much off of your spatula as you can. Don't lick your fingers, Wesley. I know some of y'all get on to me for doing it on camera, but I'm in my kitchen. It don't matter. But I'm not going to sully it, spoil my review. So this is going to go in. I'm going to put a couple of toothpicks so I know that this is recipe number 2. And this goes in just to the fridge and is going to have to live there anyway. So we'll pull this out when we pull them all out. And now I'm going to clean up, wash up, and we're going to get started on recipe number 3. See you back here in just a second. All right, guys, we are back for our last and final recipe. This is the one that's going to take a little bit of cooking here on the stovetop. This is the Best Keto Chocolate Fudge, and this is by HeyKetoMama.com. Be sure to check it out here below. And this is the one we're going to make our own evaporated condensed milk, whatever you want to call it. It's a sweetened version of milk. So we're going to start with, let me get some heat on this thing. Oops, it helps if you plug it in, doesn't it? Look at there, better living through electronics. All right, so let's get a little bit of heat on. And so right now we've got, this is a little bit of butter. If you want to know exactly how much, again, be sure to check it out below. And we're going to add in some heavy cream. I'll just let you know this is about a cup of heavy cream. And this is just going to take some time. What we're also going to add to this is some powdered erythritol. Again, I'm using Swerve. I'm sure allulose probably would work great in this, but I'm following the recipe as it's written here. And I didn't have to worry about sifting this because we're going to be whisking this and cooking this down for 15 minutes. It's not, there will be no lumps left. And then lastly, we're going to add in a little bit of vanilla extract to this. I'm going to speed this up so that you don't have to sit and watch it. I'm going to throw a little music over the top of it, and I'm just going to bring this to a simmer, and we're going to stir it occasionally and keep it moving for about 15 minutes until it turns kind of thick, and I'll meet you back here in 15 minutes or just a few seconds on your side. All right? See you in just a bit. All right, guys, we're back, and this is cooled for almost 10 minutes, maybe a little more. And as you can see, this is nice and thick. But before this cools all the way, this is, now if you wanted to just make this into condensed milk, you could just stop here and let this cool and store it in the fridge. But here's where we make our fudge, right? So to this, we're gonna add again our Lily's no sugar added chocolate chips, and then gently stir these in until they are melted. And the residual heat from the condensed milk should take care of everything. Oh my gosh, this looks great. And now this calls for chopped pecans on top. And like I mentioned, like just really creamy fudge. I don't want a lot of toppings or things in it, but I may throw some on for the thumbnail photo. But if you like nuts, by all means, be sure to add some. So once this is smooth, that looks beautiful. Really nice. This goes into, again, the same style pan, and then we're going to refrigerate this. And apparently, once this is set, it does not require further refrigeration, or at least melting of in your hands, as it were, like some of these others apparently will. Get it all out of there. This stuff's too expensive to let it linger behind. Okay, spread, ooh, don't let your parchment do that. Spread this out so it's nice and flat. This parchment is really going to save our rear ends when it comes time for this to come out, hopefully. And, all right, tamp it down. Not gonna lick my finger. But this guy is going in the fridge. I'm not going to put a toothpick in him. We'll know he's our third recipe. And then I'm going to clean up, and I'll see you in probably a couple of hours, and we're going to slice these and test them. So I will check you back here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, guys, we are back. It's been a few hours. It's a little bit darker outside. I'm a little bit sleepy because I may have taken a nap. But we are here, and y'all, look, 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 look. These look amazing. So this is our first recipe. It is really full here. If you're just talking about sheer volume, that's a big guy there. Our second recipe here, I've added some, a little bit of salt, sea salt to half of that so that I can use that for my thumbnail photo. And then our third recipe, this one had the optional nuts, but I left those out. So let's quickly talk about nutritional information. I'm going to take these out. Let's go ahead and lift them and see. Let me get these out of the way. Get out of the way. Look at that. Wow. That guy is beautifully thick. Okay. Second one. This is our second recipe. I don't know why I'm showing you the thickness, because it's really going to matter the serving size, I realize. But I was kind of interested in it. And this is our third recipe here. This is the one that's supposed to not require, I believe, chilling. So now that we've got these out here, let's talk about nutrition, serving sizes, all that jazz. Our first recipe here, this is the 2-ingredient Keto Fudge. This is by thebigmansworld.com. This actually makes 24 pieces. So you would cut this in half or in thirds, and then 24 pieces out of this. One piece of this is 135 calories. You've got 4 grams of protein, 12 grams of fat. You've got 5 total carbs, 3 grams of fiber. So that makes this 2 grams of net carbs per piece if you make 24. Second recipe, this one makes 21 pieces, so they're going to be a lot smaller because obviously this is a whole lot thinner. But if you make 21 pieces of this, one piece is only 77 calories. That's really good. 77 calories, you've got 7.5 grams of fat. You have got no protein, 0, or it's a rounding down situation. You've got 4 grams of total carbs, 4 grams of fiber, so technically 0 net carbs per serving for this, and only 77 calories. So I'm very curious how that turns out. And then lastly, our third recipe. This is the one by Hey Keto Mama. This is the Best Keto Chocolate Fudge. And this makes 12 servings. So they're going to be a nice portion size on that. But one slice, if you make 12, one piece is 154 calories, 15 grams of fat. You've got 1.8 grams of protein. You've got 7.5 total carbs, 4.6 grams of fiber. So that makes it 2.9 net carbs per serving. So the second recipe definitely has it going as far as calories and carb count, but what do they taste like? That's the most important part. So I'm gonna try to cut a piece of this, and it will help if you have a wet knife, I believe. Kind of just helps get you a nice even slice. So I'm gonna come across here. I'm only gonna cut a few of them now, because again, I need to deal with a thumbnail photo. But these will keep in the fridge, he said, for about a month, or you can freeze them for up to 6 months. So great to make ahead. Wow. So this is our first recipe. It looks, I mean, that is fudge, guys. That is fudge. And, oh, I got a piece of paper stuck in him. So, you're definitely, as I hold it, it's coming off in my hands a little bit. Not terribly, though. All right, see what we think. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, guys, that's thick. Peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter, peanut butter. I felt like you took a whole spoon of peanut butter, put a little cocoa powder on top, and tried to swallow it. Wow. For me, not nearly sweet enough. There was no additional sweetener except for what was in your what are those called? Chocolate chips. Oh, I don't know. I wasn't wild about that, to be very honest with you. So, sorry, Big Man's World. All right, let's try our second one. Hopefully my battery is about to die, y'all. I'm going to try to get these. So I'm going to just cut this one. This again, this is the second one. This is the dietchefs.com, and cuts a lot easier than that other one. It has more of a thick, hard texture than the peanut butter did. What does it taste like? Okay. It is making. Okay. That one was better. That's tasting like fudge. That's got some sweetness to it. That's, oops, I lost one. Do not let the dogs eat that. Okay. Lastly, real quick before my battery dies, it's going. This is the third recipe, Hey Keto Mama. We made, oh, okay, it's really creamy. It's really creamy. And this supposedly isn't going to melt in your fingers. It is buttery, but most fudge is. What does it taste like? Hands down, the last one, the Hey Keto Mama, the one made with homemade condensed milk. Dang, y'all, that's good. That's real good. So, all right, guys, so there you have it, low carb fudge. Can it be done? You better believe it. Just decide whether you want to get your hands dirty or not. I say it every time, these videos are a way for me to maintain my low carb way of eating, and having to look at the end of this camera as often as I can helps keep me honest. So I appreciate that you guys have come along for the journey. If you don't follow me on Facebook and Instagram, I'm asking you to please go do. Find me there. It's Highfalutin Low Carb in both places. I talk a little more frequently and a little more freely there, show you what I had for dinner last night and what I think I find funny on Facebook and those sorts of things. So please join me over there. We have a lot of fun. Also, if you like this video, be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and the like button. If you are already a subscriber, make sure you've hit the bell button down below, and so you'll be notified as soon as new videos become available. This is really important. It lets the algorithm know, lets the YouTube gods know to share this content with other people who might be interested. And lastly, I need to thank again the sponsor of this video, Green Chef. I say it all the time, sponsorships aren't why I do this, they're how I do this. Guys, be sure to take advantage of their great offer right now by using the link in the video description below and the code here on the screen. Lastly, my rock stars. Without them, none of this would be possible. My Patreon members, you're going to see their names start to scroll over here. If you don't know what Patreon is, think of it as the tip jar for the internet. It lets people like you, who enjoy what people like me do here on YouTube, you give $1 or $2 a month just to sort of keep the train on the tracks, as it were. So without them, none of this would be possible. Again, thank you so much for joining me. I love you. And remember, today is a good day to have a good day.